Hey, what's going on everyone? Sam here from Lake Pro Tackle. Guys, today we're gonna be going over the new Megabass Destroyer rods that we got in stock. These are gonna be the USA models. We've got 4 currently in stock here. We're waiting on 3 more models to come in. We'll keep you updated. Follow our social media. We'll let you know when they're coming in, let you know when they land, and when they're up on the website ready to go. But for now, we've got 4 models we're gonna talk about. We've got the FMJ, the BMG, the Deimos, and the 110 Special. These are the 4 rods that I think are gonna be selling the best. We're gonna talk about the different applications that you can use them for. We're gonna go over all the specs on them. But first off, we're gonna start with the FMJ. If you're interested in any of these rods, look right below the video in the description. They'll be linked right down below where you can order them at lakeprotackle.com. Keep up to date with all the stuff we've got going on there. We've got a bunch of cool new stuff coming in the store all the time. Free shipping over $50, guys, and our prices are very, very competitive. We're keeping up with those big tackle retailers, having the same exact prices as them. We really appreciate any business we can get from y'all. So guys, head over to lakeprotackle.com and let's go ahead and start talking about these Megabass rods here. So right off the bat, these are extremely light rods. If you're looking to up your game, really want to find that perfect rod for you, for whatever application it may be, these Destroyer rods by Megabass here are extremely well crafted. They have an unsanded blank from the handle down, which I think is a plus. I mean, I don't know if it adds anything to performance of the rod at all, but I kind of like that unsanded finish on it. You know, the smooth blanks are cool and all, but having this rod have a little bit of texture on it when you feel it and stuff is just something nice to hold on to. So this rod right here is the FMJ. This is gonna kind of be your jig rod, your Texas rig rod, a good bottom contact rod. So this one here is gonna be a 7'3", 7'3" 6 power rod. So this one here is gonna be extremely, extremely fast, whether you're flipping and pitching into wood or grass or dragging on the bottom, this one here is gonna have your back for that. So the FMJ is a very extremely fast rod. It has a little bit of bend in it, not much. It'll end around the 3rd guide here, 3rd guide going up. You can see that starts to stiffen up there, and that's where the backbone takes over. But overall, for Texas rig and jig applications, this is gonna be a superb rod for you. This rod is rated for 3/8 to 1 ounce, and it says you can throw 10 to 25 pound line on this. So they've got a very wide line rating, depending on what you want to do. And of course, if you have braided line, it's going to be a little bit different. I'm sure you can throw really whatever braid you want. Probably I would suggest 30 and up if you're doing braid. But this guy here is going to be a great Texas rig jig rod. Like I said, any bottom contact, you can really feel it directly through that entire rod. Now, one thing I really do want to point out on the Destroyer rods here is the handle. The way the handle's designed, it's got a smaller trigger than a lot of traditional rods, like even the Loomis's, any other rods on the market, 13 Fishing, Abu Garcia, anything in the store here. These are gonna have the smallest triggers of them all, and I really enjoy that. And what's cool is there's also 2 little parts where you put your fingers here that are gonna be open, where you have direct contact with the blank. So when you're holding this rod in your hands like so, your 2 fingers are gonna be rubbing on that blank there. You're gonna feel everything very, very well through this rod. So you get a small tick on the line, you're gonna feel it all the way through the rod into your handle, just like that. The cork here looks like pretty standard cork to me. Feels very, very smooth, so it's sanded down smooth. Doesn't have a lot of holes in it, so you're not gonna have a lot of water damage getting into the cracks in that cork. But I would seal it with a sealer just to make sure this cork doesn't wear down. You know, one of the big things for me is I wanna keep my stuff looking good all the time. So I'm gonna seal it with something, make sure it stays looking good through its entire lifetime that I use it. So this one here, again, the FMJ, 7'3", 6 power. And it's gonna be a lot different from any of the other ones we're going to talk about, which actually have, a lot of them have a little bit more parabolic bend on them. So next up, we're going to talk about the BMG. So this guy here is going to be an amazing bottom contact rod. So this one here, I would say, is going to be the best for big Texas rigs, Carolina rigs, big jigs, anything you're dragging on the bottom. You're going to be able to count each rock down there with this rod. So this one here is going to be a 7 foot, oh, I actually grabbed another FMJ. Let me pull the BMG down. There we go. So this one here is going to be a 7'5", 7 power. However, even though it's 1 power heavier than the FMJ, it's gonna have a little more parabolic bend in it. It's just gonna be a little bit heavier rod. It can handle a little bit heavier things, but you can see it has a whole lot more parabolic bend in it. And that's why I'm gonna like it for a lot more deeper water applications. You know, whether it be a Carolina rig, which is primarily what I like to throw, as you're dragging along, I wanna have a little bit longer length, which this one has at a 7'5" rod, and that parabolic bend, because I don't wanna rip that hook or rip that bait out of the fish's mouth. So it's gonna have a little bit more parabolic bend. It's still gonna be a pretty fast action here, snaps back pretty quick. But this one here, the BMG, if you're looking for a great bottom contact bait, even something like a mag draft even, you can throw it on this rod. It's gonna have enough backbone in it to handle that. Next up, we have the Deimos, and this one here is gonna be very unique. It's gonna be a great moving bait rod, whether it be a chatterbait, a spinnerbait, a bigger style crankbait. It's gonna be a 7'2" rod, and it's gonna be in a 7'5" power. So this one here is gonna have a lot more bend in it. You can see the amount of flex and bend this rod has. I would say the backbone ends around the second eyelet at the back here, but it's gonna have a little bit slower tip on it. So you can see that it's gonna be a very reactionary rod. So whether it's a chatterbait, spinnerbait, bigger crankbait, you're gonna be able to get those fish, and that 5 power is gonna allow that fish to get that hook in its mouth as you're moving that bait around. So this one here, the Deimos. The other one we're gonna get in is gonna be the Javelin, and it's gonna be a 7'5" 5 power, which is gonna be more for your bigger crankbaits. And personally, I would say even heavier spinnerbaits, heavier chatterbaits as well on that Javelin. Now this one here is gonna be great for precision casting, whether you're flipping small Texas rigs or jigs even, anything with a non-really meaty hook is gonna be a great application for this rod as well. So a little bit more bend in it, a little bit less power, but this rod right here is gonna be awesome. Last one up is gonna be the 110 Special. So this is another rod that's coming back. One thing you'll notice on this 110 Special that isn't on any of the other rods is it has a lot shorter butt end, and that's gonna be primarily because you're gonna be throwing jerk baits on it. So as you're working that rod in front of you like this, that butt end isn't gonna hit your side a lot. It's not gonna cause a lot of issues. It's gonna be very free. And this is a supremely light rod, guys. This is a 6'11" rod. It's gonna be in a 4.5 power. So even most jerk baits that I like to use, especially the 110+1s, this rod is gonna have that right amount of flex for that. And the flex is gonna run all the way through the rod here. You can see it's a very flexy rod all the way up until the last eyelet. And that's what I really enjoy about this rod. You can still hit these jerk baits pretty hard. Now with Megabass ones, you don't have to hit them very hard. You can kind of really just twitch the rod tip and it moves that bait a lot. But if you're throwing something like a Jackal re-range or you're throwing like a Lucky Craft pointer, you really want to hit that jerk bait, and this rod allows that bend. That bend in this rod allows you to do that with other jerk baits. So this is gonna be a great rod not only for Megabass jerk baits, but for every jerk bait in any lineup basically. So this one here, again, 6'11", 4.5 power. It's gonna be an amazing rod for any jerk bait style stuff you're gonna be using for it. Also, I would recommend throwing light Texas rigs on this one, even weightless Texas rigs, weightless baits. It's gonna be a great rod for that as long as you're not using a really meaty hook. This rod doesn't have too much power on it, but it still has a great amount of bend, which can compensate for some of that power that you apply to it. And the other three that we're getting in are gonna be the Javelin, like I said, and the 2 spinning rods. They aren't here yet, unfortunately, due to supply chain issues. We won't be getting those in until hopefully around summertime, which are gonna be the Addermine and the Flysa, the 2 spinning rods in the brand new P5 series. The one I'm most excited for is gonna be the Flysa at 7'6" at a light plus or medium plus rod. It's gonna be, for me, a great drop shot rod, a great Ned rig rod, as well as throwing something like an Okashira screw head, very, very light baits, even like a small hair jig, like a marabou hair jig. It's gonna be great for that. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video here. If you're interested in picking one of these Megabass rods up, head over to lakeprotackle.com. Come in store here, guys. You can feel them for yourself. They're up right here on the rod rack, so go check them out. Free shipping again for orders over $50. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe, leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it, and we'll catch you next time. Peace out, guys.